this meeting to order at 2:00.
There you go.
Ooh. The minutes, do we have approval to accept the minutes as presented?
My last meeting.
From our last meeting, I would like to make someone make a motion to approve.
Motion to approve?
I will second.
All in favor?
All in favor, sorry.
Aye.
Yes.
So moves.
So moved. Citizens to be heard. Who are those citizens?
I'm always here, or almost always. Beth Daniels, I'm president of the Clearwater Arts Alliance, and I always think pictures are worth 1,000 words, so I'll start here and ask you to pass them down just as a brief update on something we've recently done. There's a new signal box recently installed at the corner of Turner and Myrtle, and it was a student piece. The student won an award at our annual fundraiser for that image, and interestingly, she's at Clearwater High studying to be, and wants to go on in college, not only to pursue art, but also etymology. So she's very interested in bugs. Hence, she loved the dragonfly, among other things. Anyway, just wanted to let you know Clearwater Arts Alliance is participating in the Art in the Park event that is this Saturday. We will have an information booth, and we'll be hopefully recruiting people and telling people about art and cultural activities in town, and hopefully getting their enthusiastic participation with us. We are also working with Amber now, and also the CRA. The Sculpture 360, as you are probably aware, those pedestals were prepared quite a few years ago, and for a long time they were rotated quite regularly, but that hasn't happened in a couple of years. I think pretty much because Amber needs more staff and more help. So we at the Arts Alliance are going to try. We are filling out an application for some funds from CRA to help logistically manage that, just meaning go find some artists that will come and bring things and get the things signed and get them installed, so that those, either you're not seeing the same thing stay there on and on and on, or more people have an opportunity to have their work rotated in and out. So that probably will take a while, and we're probably going to try to rebrand it. We are thinking about 3D on Cleveland, and then have some kind of a tagline like a rotating public sculpture exhibition or something to that effect. So we're working on that. There are 2 public art walks this Saturday. We're always the 3rd Saturday. Some of you I have never seen on the walk, and I've conducted most all of them. So while Art in the Park is happening, we have a morning one at 10:30 and another afternoon one at 4. And we start right here in the library courtyard with the lovely Learning Tree Centennial Oak Sculpture that is a product of public art and design money. So thank you.
Does anyone else need to be heard or want to be heard that's not on the agenda?
Can I know?
Yeah.
I'm going to take advantage of this because I live in Slaughter, 2336 Stagnum Boulevard, but I'm the assistant city manager. I just wanted to say thank you for playing this role in the design the Arts Design Board. I work now with Amber, so I'm hopefully your new support structure as we continue to do great things. And I just wanted to introduce myself and thank you for participating this morning. Thanks for having us.
Anyone else?
Also want to introduce myself. My name is Mark Wiley. I'm Amber's new intern. Happy to work with you guys in this process. And anytime you guys need any assistance, always contact me.
Awesome. Good to meet you, Mark.
Yes, I know. Awesome.
It is awesome.
What school are you from?
I was at USF. I graduated in 2020.
Good. Where are we at, new business now?
Yep. 4.1.
New business, 4.1, discuss potential donation for the City Clearwater Beach Marina.
We're being recorded, so you need to project.
I need to project a little bit more. Sorry, guys. Do I need to read each one of the
Just do one at a time. Just
Okay.
do 4.1.
Yeah, so 4.1 is discuss potential donation for the Clearwater Beach Marina.
Amber Bryce, Arts and Cultural Affairs Manager. Good afternoon, everybody. So we had a local artist reach out to us about a potential donation. He would like to donate a marble sculpture of the god of the sea, Neptune or Poseidon, whichever one you prefer. He originally had asked for Coachman Park. Then we had asked him about Clearwater Beach Marina. The marina will be completed in 2026. We brought this up to Clearwater Arts Alliance, city management, and we've expressed some concerns about the origin of the sculpture and not hiring a local or US-based artist for the piece. So the sculpture would be manufactured and made in China by a company called Ufine. The artist is not creating the sculpture. He would just simply pay for it. And he would like it engraved with, designed by or donated with his name, with some history of the city, history of Neptune. And we would just like to know the board's thoughts on this potential.
Haven't we discussed this? Or we discussed something similar?
I was gonna say there was a similar discussion, I think it was a year and a half, 2 years ago, about
Yes.
something in the same area.
And we talked about it going on Clearwater Beach.
Correct.
It was like a fountain, maybe?
Yeah.
But I thought,
Something Tarpon wanted us
but
to
I-
borrow.
I
That's
think the city of Tarpon didn't want it,
Yeah.
is what it was. It was
And
something.
they wanted us
I was
to,
trying
they
to be
wanted us
nice.
to take it and actually put it down there, but they wanted to. It was a similar idea. They had them putting something down near the Clearwater Beach. It was an iconic place. I think actually we had, I don't recall, we almost went to pull the minutes up to see what that conversation was, but there was some hesitancy about actually having that down there from some other location.
I remember also that we were concerned about the,
Trident.
Yeah,
There.
being dangerous as well.
So this would be the new beach marina, so they're redoing the whole entire thing. They actually have a place for 2 potential sculpture locations. So it's not the same location. It's not gonna be in the middle of the roundabout or anything like that.
no, I understand, but again, it was just trying to recount them.
I think I think he said something around like 12 to 18 feet tall. So there's a huge base. It's like a 4-foot base, and then it's a big sculpture.
You said it's the new beach marina, so forgive my ignorance, but are we building, City of Clearwater's building a new beach marina? Is that what I'm hearing?
Yes. So I just saw the schematics of it yesterday, and it's still in the works. But basically, they're just kind of building a new boardwalk and trying to get rid of the bottleneck that happens where everybody buys tickets for the boats and everything. That'll kind of be more off to the side, and it'll be a marina walk area.
As a capital project for the City of Clearwater, then therefore it should have money that's allocated towards the public arts.
Correct.
So we could actually go out and potentially, we will be soliciting for something on that in the future.
And we have the option of doing, since there's places for murals, there's places for sculptures, we have the opportunity of doing multiple art projects with or without this donation.
Yeah. I'd like to suggest to bring in something that, like this, created where it is, the way it's put in, gives us an opportunity for bad press, and we're not looking for any of that. We've got so many wonderful sculptures around. For that and other words similar, would be opposed to that.
My initial thoughts on this are that the immediate aesthetic to me does not suit the integrity of Coachman Park's design. I also question the subject matter. I'm not sure how relevant it is to the local community, to Clearwater, and I would like to see some public input on that possibly. And then additionally, I do have a problem with it being manufactured so incredibly far away. If we wanted something that was mass manufactured, generic, or the bottom price, I don't think that holds the integrity of the park and what would be the new marina.
I think we have enough talent here to do a call that would make the community a little bit more comfortable and excited about what would be going on at the marina than having someone come in that it's just manufacturing. So I agree with all those comments.
Would there be a way of asking this donor, of being able to kind of pull this donor's interest in being part of art in the city without the donor dictating what's being done? Because I think there's something good about someone who wants to be part of the city, who wants to help to make things happen, but also making all the choices doesn't reflect the idea that, you know, the people in the city are helping to make that choice. So has there been any indication of whether he's interested in?
So I did ask, I gave them a couple of options and said, you know, if we don't want to go this route, would you, and it's more about a legacy gift, if that's what you're interested in, would you be interested in donating to a different sculpture or another option? And he basically said it's this or nothing. This is kind of what was said.
Yeah.
I don't, maybe, you know, that's a future conversation, but that, from that initial email, that's what was said.
That's really not the way sculpture and other public art projects have been handled here.
Thank you for your feedback.
So what else did you have for us? You looking for like a,
We just wanted a discussion. This is
Okay.
kind of the first discussion about this, and we really wanted to gauge y'all's opinion on it.
I think we could just copy and paste the notes from the discussion. Because it's the exact same.
It does kind of sound the same.
It's very similar subject matter. It has really nothing to do with the community, like you said. It's like, here's this gift.
Is there
and
any
not to-
indication?
and I would
It's
say-
generous,
Yeah.
absolutely. And that, in our discussion a year or two ago, we discussed about, you know, how to be sensitive about this because we do appreciate the offer. It's really kind. But I don't think it fits within the aesthetic of, you know, what this board's trying to do.
Was there any indication, I think, Jonathan, you mentioned that Tarpon was not interested? This would seem to fit Tarpon.
Well, this was a different.
different, the previous one?
This was a similar request, different sculpture, and I believe that it was one that was created within the states. I believe those are the differences, but
Gosh.
yeah.
I think the other one was already made.
I don't remember. I mean, it was already made. They had it already in possession.
It was like Neptune on a dolphin or something.
Would there be private places in the city we could refer this person to?
Could certainly tell them to reach out to hotels or something like that. That's private property, if that's.
That might be
Then they
able
can
to
take it if they
accomplish
want
what
to.
he's trying to do
Yes.
without maybe feeling like
Was the
we're
request-
shutting everything down.
Was the request to specifically go on the actual marina? That was the request of the donation that it actually.
The original request was Coachman Park.
Oh, okay, then.
And we
Just-
weren't sure on it, so because it's the god of the sea, we said maybe the marina is a little more appropriate, and that's kind of how this conversation went about.
And that wasn't the donator's suggestion. That was determined to us.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it seems like a direction that we don't want to pursue right now, right?
Absolutely.
Appreciate your input.
Yeah. What about the Downtown Gateway Mural Festival?
So in partnership with the CRA, our Art Oasis Mural Festival is currently underway. The businesses participating in the Mural Festival this year are Clear Track Studios, which is being painted starting today, Charlie's Sushi, Ranchito de Pepe, which already half the murals pretty much complete on that building, Senor Subs, Fraternal Order of the Eagles, and Senor Bubbles. We also have a new mural going up in Coachman Park this week, along with another mural being painted on the side of the MSD parking garage, which faces the police station towards Pierce Street. These are being incorporated into the mural festival, though those two are not funded by the CRA. So we're really excited about that, and I can use some handouts. Those are the actual murals that are being painted on the buildings, which is also attached to the agenda if anybody would like to view it.
Yeah, really pleased with the gladiolus.
That looks really good.
Yeah. Mhm.
So the gladiolus went forward.
Well, you're gonna vote on it, but yes, I think so.
only comment on the gladiolas was, in this execution, was that it just didn't feel prominent. It's there and it's a big part of the piece, but it didn't really feel like I know I can identify it from across the room or a field or parking lot.
We're gonna vote
Yeah.
on that on 4.4
Yeah.
if you want,
Okay.
and we can talk about it.
So as far as the discussion right now, with the material you just passed out, is there feedback you're looking for? Is it just informing us of these are the murals that are going up? Okay.
Yeah, it's just to let you know what's going on with buildings. These are all private properties, so
Okay.
the property owners pick the designs.
So for the mural festival, is that mostly stop by during this time and watch the painters work, or is there more going
Pretty
on?
much. We tried to keep the dates in line so everybody knows where they're happening, when they're happening. So if you wanted to drive by and kind of watch, or ride your bike by and watch the paint, the mural is painting, then we're trying to get that out to the public.
Yeah. What's the PR behind that?
So we did do a couple of social media posts. There was one on Monday, I think, that showed the first design and said, these two artists. We're going to try to take, Mark has been taking some photos of the artist in action, so we're going to try to keep pushing that. And as we're going throughout the weeks, showing the art that's being painted and where it's being painted at. And then ideally, what I'm asking for from our public communications department is an image with a QR code to the artist's website to hang at the property. So if somebody's shopping at this market, they can scan it, learn about the artist, learn about the piece. So that's what we're doing for the community.
Are any of the businesses doing anything during that time as well?
I've asked them to share our social media. There's only two that are being painted right now. Ranchito de Pepe doesn't seem to have a very big social media platform. Clear Track Studio has a bigger one, so I'm hoping they'll push on their social media a little more.
What about the artists themselves? I'm imagining they will be.
They are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Would there be like a wrap-up kind of like event to celebrate the festival for this year? Or is that like next year?
We thought about doing that. Originally when we had Nature's Food Patch and Julie's, it was in that same parking lot, and we thought that would be a really easy place to do something like that. Those two businesses unfortunately dropped out. So because they're kind of all spread over the place, or spread out, I don't know if we're gonna be able to do that this year.
Did they give you a reason on that, why they dropped out?
They have the same property owner, and the property owner just said,
Okay.
I'm no longer interested.
So no.
The businesses were interested, the property owner
Okay.
didn't want it.
Okay.
It's unfortunate, but.
Is there any more to add on this piece, on this discussion? Art in the Park Coachman event.
So our second Art in the Park event is happening in Coachman Park this Saturday, the 16th from 10 to 4. The spots were free for vendors, so this is a great opportunity for local and upcoming artists and crafters to sell and display their works. Carlos Pons will be live painting at one of the mural walls. Our Clearwater Sister Cities Inc., which is the nonprofit, will be selling drinks for their fundraiser. We have about 40 vendors, so we would like to invite you guys to come out and enjoy the beautiful park, beautiful weather, and some local art.
Something that comes to mind right now is, do we have any presence on Instagram or other social media where somebody is bringing a voice to all this coming up, somebody just sort of broadcasting these events or openings? I just feel like this makes me think of that. This makes me think of somebody walking downtown and saying, hey, what we have coming up is, maybe having a sample of the artwork or something to show. It just seems like there's so much going on now.
Yeah, we have a public communications department. That's
Okay.
their
Yeah.
job. That's their realm.
Yeah.
And they have to follow parameters. So I don't know about live streaming and things like that. I'm not
Mm.
sure what they're allowed to do.
It
But
seems
they
like
do
this
push
really lends
the
itself
events.
to that.
Yeah, so I know they've pushed the Art in the Park event on social
Yeah.
media, but maybe we don't have a big enough reach. I'm not sure
Got it.
what we're lacking.
What is the city, what is the social media platform for the city?
It's just City of Clearwater.
Just City of
My
Clearwater.
Clearwater.
Okay.
Is that what it is? They have.
Well, myclearwater.com is the website, and then on Facebook, I think we're just City of Clearwater, City of Clearwater government. Like
Yeah,
that.
City of Clearwater, I think, yeah.
I'm sure at the bottom of the city government, the website, you'll find all the links.
And then some departments have their own, so Coachman Park has their own separate Facebook page and they push.
What about Instagram? Like, I'm on Instagram.
We do have Instagram, City of Clearwater. And I think Coachman Park has their own as well.
And Coachman, okay.
I'm thinking back to the study that was talked about, I think, at the last meeting, as far as how much revenue the performing arts are bringing in. It almost seems like the performing arts of Clearwater could take on its own brand name and represent itself throughout the city, throughout the events, and throughout social media. That's what I feel like is coming up from this. Again, for the other
Yeah.
department, right? Yeah.
I mean, we
I feel
can
like
push
it's
that, but
burbling
it's-
up from
yeah.
here.
But we also have, Ruth Eckerd runs the sound, so they have their own marketing
Right.
team. They do their own social media.
Right.
The city pushes certain
It feels-
ones that we co-sponsor, but
Yeah.
it's just,
Mhm.
there's a lot of things happening, and so they have to strategize so they're not doing all art at once or, all concerts at once. So.
But the good news of having Ruth Eckert do their thing, the city doing their thing, the local groups doing their thing, is that it sounds like there's a lot more noise. If everything, I think that you are correct, and I think that the point you're trying to make is a good and a valid one. But looking at it from the other side, if we have, hey, these guys are coming to the sound, hey, come to downtown Clearwater because the sound's going to be having this, hey, we're going to be selling this kind of stuff at the sound, it almost seems like there's more things happening because there's more groups talking
Right.
about it.
And to some extent, what I'm suggesting could be even an aggregator of sorts, right? And so it could just be highlighting. It just seems like there's something here that could be even more just highlighting what's going on and really having more of an online voice. I see other things going on I'm in social media a lot right now because I have a teen who's a musician. So I'm seeing certain ads, certain local pop-ups come through, and I would just love to see some of this energy that's starting to coalesce from the murals and the performing arts here. So I feel like there's room for something else.
Maybe there's somebody you can talk to or a meeting where you could be a citizen to be heard. Would there be?
Public Communications
CRA.
Board, an advisory board, I don't think so.
I think it sounds to me like what you're talking about is maybe a little more robust of a marketing plan. We probably really don't have much more than we're just capitalizing on our internal communication strategy.
Right,
So
yeah.
you maybe give us till the next meeting, maybe me and Amber will have some conversations about that and solicit some feedback from some other parties and see if there is something more to do. Certainly Amber doesn't have the capacity to run a marketing campaign.
Sure.
So I think that's kind of what my role is to try to fill those voids that she may have. So let's talk about it, because I think you make a very good point. I mean, I would love even if you all had a reach to certain social media influencers that are specific to the arts campaigns, that would be an audience we would want to do a better job reaching. Our social media will reach a certain type of base, but like the Arts in the Park is probably going to market to a particular crowd. And those groups are there, they're out, these are very popular. And so I'm making sure that we're connected to those right groups will be something that we'll have a conversation with, maybe report back to you next time.
Thank you, because I think part of what you're hearing is we were so excited when we heard the results of the survey.
Me too.
And then all of a sudden it was like, wow, we have a chance, we're in the race, okay, let's do it.
Yes. I think how we leverage that, we need to have some good thought, good strategy about, so it's a good point.
I will add that with Creative Pinellas, we do have an Arts Coast magazine, and just hearing the conversations over the past couple of months with being on the board, I now have a better grasp of an understanding of all that is happening, and so part of my work will be to make sure that is covering these events and elevating them in a different way, and then partnering more with the Clearwater Arts Alliance to make sure that there's like more arts focus so that we can push that up to Visit St. Pete Clearwater on their platform, because that is where we could get more reach as well. So just hold those thoughts. We'll work on that.
And I was going to mention Clearwater Arts Alliance, so they have a new creative director who's really been helpful for their social media, so getting them to push art stuff for Clearwater.
More sharing, more
Yes.
boosting of posts, all those kinds of things, yeah. But I mean, I went just yesterday to what's the downtown Clearwater site, which has the events calendar, which we put things like our artworks on, and the Art in the Park wasn't on it. Yoga in the Park was.
So that's And that's CRA's website, and that's
But,
where things get
you know,
confusing too.
I'm just saying, I mean, it seemed crazy to me that I know we're a couple days off from that. And I went in there to look and see, and some things were on and some things weren't. So,
Well, it seems like we have a bunch of different avenues to, or resources that we can rely on. Is that a acceptable response for you?
Oh,
Yes.
oh, well, yeah, and I look forward to hearing some ideas in the future. I'm just running through my mind of ways that I think it could be done.
Amber, when we have I know I'm still back at 4.2 in my head. When we have events of a particular focus, like like the murals, is there any sort of reach out to other types of art? Like one of the things I was noticing here was the last piece has a music theme. I mean, is there any way of reaching out to, hey, this is kind of connected with music? Is there a way of sending a blast to people we have that are connected with music? Do you want to do something like this, or?
So we have to be careful with certain murals because we have a sign code that restricts businesses from having anything painted on their building that has to do with whatever their building represents. So the one with the music, Clear Track Studios wanted that mural.
Right.
And I had to say, I'm sorry, you can basically have any other one, but you can't have that one because that breaks our sign code. So we just have some rules that we have to follow within our own ordinances for that
Right.
particular.
Right.
But as far as like, are you talking like for sculptures? Like what do you, when you're
Well,
saying a different medium?
I guess I'm thinking about ways of connecting with different types of art that are going on already, that we have going on in the city, rather than it being one, here's a mural, it's visual art, that's it. But there may be other tie-ins to theater, to music, to, and even in here some, we have lots of birds and fish and, things that aren't even necessarily art. I'm just wondering if there's, that would pull more people in. Sometimes you get somebody who comes for the fish, not for the art.
What would be the application outside of, if it's a mural project, what are you thinking the application is for other types of art?
I'm thinking just bringing more people in, because there might be somebody who says, I'll go see this jazz band play while this guy's painting. I'm not interested in the painting, but I'll go and listen to musicians, and then there's more people there to see the painting as well.
I definitely think that's another avenue for Creative Panels as well. They have insight to a bunch of different types of artists and poetry as well. And if it's not music, they can have someone there reading poetry or other types of art forms. So depending on the application, I think it just depends on, that would determine who you put in that spot. But
yeah, I didn't know if we had like a way of connecting
We have
with
different programs. I know like library does, they have like a poetry slam that they're doing as a program in the park. Of course we have performing arts, but tying them all together, it is a good idea. It's a matter of logistics, I think, of how many spaces we have and for people. Some of these parking lots are very tight
Well, I mean,
where
it
these
could be
murals are
with
happening.
other things, other things we do as well.
Yeah, no, it's a good idea. We could try to tie that together because we've been talking about it being a performing arts city, so we could have some sort of dance or musical performance.
And I wouldn't want to put this on CRA or whoever is proposing a particular artwork, but one of the things that we do in publishing, when you try to get a book published, one of the things publishers always want to know is which different audiences would be interested in this. And I think that could be something awesome, saying, well, we've got the Charlie Sushi with the herons on it. Who else would be interested in that? What about somebody from one of the local parks, or?
I think in that case you need an event specifically around performing arts and to be able to have different types of art forms there for it to be open enough to accommodate.
And there could also be something put onto the business owners. in order to, if I'm putting music on the side of my building, maybe I'll invite the local high school band and shoot a video as they're walking past and playing to promote this cool thing happening in the city and the Fraternal Order of Eagles.
There seems
Yeah,
to
but
be
it's a
some
little
way
bit
of
outside our-
connecting with those things at some point, but I don't know enough about that kind of stuff to know how that would be worked out.
Definitely keep it in mind for future
Yeah.
murals and other things that we have going up. So.
Uh-oh, we have to approve the design for Coachman Park mural.
So on the art in the park note, I sent all of you separate emails asking which design you preferred. The designs were essentially the same. One was oranges, one was gladiolas. The majority of you said you preferred the gladiolas. We're just asking for a final approval at today's meeting. It's on the second page, the design.
I'd like to address the comment that you made before. I
Yeah.
understand that the gladiolas may or may not be front and center, except on this, there's a whole frickin' circle with a focus on a gladiolus. But I think the idea of the Easter egg where you have to look and go, oh, wow, that's a gladiolus. It's not a bad thing.
Yeah, I'm not.
And it's the first of many.
I think it was my graphic design hat on, and just looking from that perspective, and I was like, I want to know what I'm looking at immediately, right? So that was my position on it. I adore the artwork, and I'm not opposed to the artwork at all. And I know the discussion we had about the gladiolas versus the oranges, and I do actually prefer them. I was just asking, is there a way for it just to be more prominent?
I also think it's hard to translate on paper versus a giant mural. Like, I think you're gonna see them a lot more once it's actually painted on a 20-foot wall.
Yeah.
I think the subject matter of that whole painting also sort of doesn't talk to the gladiola aspect. I actually did like the oranges better graphically. I did mention via email that I feel that this artwork is not of the aesthetic or integrity of the prior artworks picked. This has a bit of an AI feel to it, and I would prefer to overall see something different. And I think that the gladiola part, I think there's not that much contrast within the flowers themselves, and there's all this other high contrast, rather contrived art all around it, and so it has more of a TikTok feel to me than a painted mural feel overall.
Is there an artist statement on this piece
For
about?
that piece now, because this was one of the artists that was chosen for the mural festival, which, you know, we took the top 13 that were scored highest. This was one of the ones that was supposed to go on Nature's Food Patch. Obviously, when they backed out, we offered him the wall. So he has a contract. He's been given a wall.
Yeah, I didn't know if in the artist statement he explained what his thought process was.
No, but we are going to
with the
put
different-
blacks. I mean, with the oranges, like that was the original design. And
Right.
I had asked for an additional design with gladiolas. But we can obviously put on the plaque what the significance is of the gladiolas. Maybe that's the first kind of step to that. And
To clarify, when was this panel of,
Here.
this was from that 100 or so?
Yes.
I see, okay.
Who was the artist? I'm sorry. I don't-
Carlos Pons
Carlos
is his
Pons.
name.
Oh.
I don't have any problems with the image. I think the image is really well designed. The Easter egg comment's kind of interesting. It would maybe be kind of cool to have that circle back over in the Skycrest neighborhood somewhere else as an Easter egg, like to link it to that neighborhood, because that's, I guess, where the Gladiola firm was. I think the image is really striking. I don't feel that it looks like AI at all.
What about adding more gladiolas to it? Because
I
the
mean, if
whole
you look
section to the lower
like-
right,
This is gladiolas, gladiolas, gladiolas.
Right.
I mean, that's a lot. Other than this kind of Middle Eastern Persian tile work design, you have a lot of flowers in here.
I think, and and I'm echoing some of your responses as well, is the gladiators feel like a second thought or afterthought, really, and they don't really feel like an integrated part of the piece. Even though they are represented inside the piece, it doesn't feel like an integrated part of the piece, like it was there from the beginning as an idea. Overall, it's pretty, and I don't mind it overall, but if I'm looking as a constructive piece, it doesn't, it's not, yeah.
Asking for an approval.
Yes.
Yeah, we
Yes, yes,
may
yes,
or may
yes.
not be at a point where we can
I
make
see.
changes.
I understand. So, we had an overwhelm, so we had more, do we have to call for
We
a
have to
vote?
call for
You have
Call
to
for a
officially
vote.
approve this design.
All right,
Yeah.
so,
So I'd like to make a motion to approve this design.
Second.
All in favor?
all in favor?
Aye.
All right.
Any opposed? Just for the record.
Yep.
Thank you.
So moved.
This doesn't change, of course, what we said, but I'm wondering if part of the issue that we're coming up with is the idea of this as an overall Easter egg. Maybe we're not happy with that particular rendering.
It just
of
felt
the
like,
gladiolus, that maybe going forward, we want something else that's worked a little more carefully.
I just think if it's gonna be there as a piece, it should be a prominent part of the piece or more part of the story is all.
Yeah, so I mean, but that's for this piece.
Yeah.
There's also some discussion of this maybe becoming something.
In general, the gladiators, if we pick that, it should be,
We pick that.
yeah, it should be the prominent,
We should pick the flower.
yeah, over everything else.
Clearwater used to be home to gladiolus fields.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd like to see something also that was a painted style versus this looks photographic and just photoshopped onto this image.
Yeah, it looks digitally done, but I'm cool with that.
He's gonna be painting, so it will be
Right,
painted.
yeah.
All right, old business items. We have an updated timeline for Fire Station 46 sculpture.
So I just wanted to give you all an update. We've had some delays. The artist had some delays in materials, so the updated timeline for that installation, which is the fire station on the beach, that sculpture will be installed closer to June of 2024. Originally, it was gonna be March, and we moved it back to about May. It's probably gonna be June now. So for that.
Is there any discussion on it? Director's report.
I have a few items. I'll try to get through them quickly. So I would like to introduce our new intern, Arts and Cultural Affairs intern, Mark Wiley. He introduced himself. He's been a big help with projects we're working on. Some of the projects that we want to have completed by the end of the year is our City of Clearwater Arts database. Clearwater Arts Alliance, which you spoke about us, does have a database we're using as a jumping off point, but with new art being added and some more outdated pieces, we really want a place where all of the information is found together. It seems like a lot of stuff is scattered. So we'd like to have one database where, it says signal boxes and then there's a link to Clearwater Arts Alliance. There's murals in downtown and it has images and information about the artists. And then on the plaques, we're gonna put QR codes, which will bring people to this website so they can learn about all the art in the city. That's something we're really excited about and looking forward to. And then he's also working on a cleaning schedule for the art pieces that we currently have in the city, researching companies that clean art professionally and to restore and touch up some of the pieces, because I know we've had some discussions about that, and trying to get on a schedule for maintenance, regular maintenance. In addition, we have new panel art that has gone up at the MSB parking garage. It's along the Pinellas County Trail. We encourage everybody to stop by and see it. It's really vibrant, colorful, and we're really excited about the expansion of that project, which will be the elevator doors and then the side of the wall by Pierce Street. Speaking of the Americans for the Arts study that we've talked about, Randy Cohen, who's the VP for Marketing for Americans for the Arts, will be presenting at City Council this Monday at 1:30. He's going to talk about the economic impact study we did last year. We encourage everybody to watch that presentation. All of our City Council and board meetings can be found on YouTube. Next, we have resolution that we're going to put on the city council schedule for May for the Clearwater Arts Alliance to be named the official Arts Alliance in the city. Just to give them that recognition, and then we've been trying to work closer together to give them more projects like the 360 sculpture. They're gonna reinvent the gallery in the main library. I've asked them to kind of take over finding artists for that, so we can work a little more together to help get some more art in the city. And then lastly, scoring artist applications. So we're doing one more big push for a call for artists, and then we'll close that application April 19th. So I would like to ask the entire board to score applications. I think Lisa may be the only one that has scored all of them in the past. Now there are over 200 applications, so there's a lot. If you've scored some, there's definitely more now. I know it's a lot, but this will be the pool of mural artists that we're going to pull from for the rest of the Coachman Park walls, as well as the mural festival we plan on having in 2025, some of the intersection, like asphalt art that we want to do. So, this is how we pick the top artists that are going to be in the city, and we really think it's important that your voices are heard on that panel, along with the Clearwater Arts Alliance and some other community members. So I will send you another email with the instructions. You don't have to do it all in one sitting. You can do it in batches. I know it's a lot, but we're gonna put a deadline of May 17th for that.
Wait.
But we can start now. Is that like?
So I have to close it out for a jury process to start. So I'm gonna try to close it by April 19th.
Okay.
And then I'll let you know, hey, it's open for jurying,
We gotta wait till the 19th?
April 19th, yeah.
Guys ready to jump in?
I was like, let's start right now, right here, right now, let's go.
So, and that's it for me, so.
Well, you're gonna resend the email with the link for the scoring, or are you gonna send it out this week, or?
Yeah, I'll send it today or tomorrow. Kind of has the directions on how to do everything.
Is there a decided neighborhood for the 2025 murals?
Ideally, it would be North Greenwood because they have a new CRA, and CRA funded this last mural festival, but that's no promises. We don't know.
To be determined, TBD.
Yeah.
One thing I'd like to know is if I come across somebody, an artist who would like to submit their work, where would I be directing them to?
The callforentry.org.
Callforentry.org.
So
Okay.
that's where we put up our calls for artists, professional website. They need to put up a resume, as well as examples of their past work.
Okay, great.
All right, sorry about that, guys. Number 7, board members to be heard. Are there any board members to be heard?
Well, I'll say something. I was just mentioning before the meeting started that I attended a really great event down in St. Pete over the weekend. I took my entire family, so myself, 2 teens, and an 8-year-old. We went down, and my husband, we went down to St. Pete. There was a music shop down there called 7C, and through their emails, I had found out that there was an event called Art Walk, and they had music playing at 7C. They had a whole large garage door type opening, and this building is part of a group of industrial warehouse style buildings. And between that building and the parking lot, there's this building that houses studio spaces for artists. And they all had their doors open, some had food, and you could come in and talk to the artists, see their work, and there were also vendors outside. And it was an incredibly family-friendly environment. There could have been maybe more food there, but I just thought it was fantastic. And I was thinking, as we were talking earlier, that this would be something perfect for the area of Hercules, where we have a lot of industrial structures. And this enclave is essentially created down there in St. Pete. And I think it's maybe something that the city of Clearwater could also delve into, and maybe there's some incentives that could be incorporated to create this kind of synergy between the performing arts and the visual arts. So that's one thing I wanted to mention. And the other one is something else I'm looking into for myself in St. Pete also. There is a tour of the murals that are in St. Pete. And I don't know if anybody is familiar. It's kind of pricey, so I haven't committed to it yet. But I do love the idea of having maybe private-public partnership in having people come to the city, and now we're gonna have all these murals, and be able to maybe jump on and off a trolley ride and visit the murals. I think that would be really exciting, and maybe incorporate some other arts or events as well.
The mural tour, some of them are done through Florida Craft Art. They have a bicycle tour, usually
Okay.
at the wrap-up of Shine Festival.
Uh-huh.
They don't hit all of the murals because there's so many, but it's a lot of fun. We've done it several times. But as far as art tours, Clearwater Arts Alliance
Yeah.
does one almost.
Right.
You know,
Yeah, I mean,
Every
obviously,
hour
we're
on the
kind of
hour.
limited by
Right.
how far you can walk.
Exactly.
But
And
we've
so-
also explored with the trolley people,
Right.
whether for a fee, and then you'd be in the
Right.
cool if it were the summer, for instance.
Yeah.
You could go not just to the concentrated area downtown,
Yeah.
but to some of the more far-flung
Exactly.
locations.
Yeah.
But, I mean, that's a big logistical thing to plan and
Sure.
to do, and takes plenty of money to do.
Right, well, I'm wondering if, so there's some private incentive in there, so where there's private-public partnership in some way. I loved when I went to Nashville last June, there was a trolley going around there, and one of the great things is that I didn't have to go around and park my car. I
Yeah.
could get on the trolley with my two girls, and we would go to a stop, and there was a map, and we could go check some things out, take some fun pictures, and then jump back on. And it was fantastic, and so I can see something like that happening here in the future.
Right. We've done some of the background work on it already. I mean, you know, it's just a question of how much would that actually cost for the trolley group to be able to do that, and how long
Sure.
would it be? But, I
Right.
mean, clearly there are things, you know, even just further out Cleveland, and now with this latest
Right.
round of murals,
Right.
they're too far to walk from if you started here at the library, or walk to and back, but wouldn't be if you added some
Mhm.
public transportation to it
Mhm.
somehow.
Yeah.
Very cool. Anyone else? Go for it.
Has there ever been any discussion of having some signage on the Pinellas Trail as it goes through Clearwater, pointing out particular murals,
Not that I know of.
installations, things like that?
Not that I know of. I think it's a great idea. It would be
Yeah. I
only
wonder
two
how.
other different departments involved with that.
Yeah, I don't know how
There's
it's-
some interactive murals downtown Clearwater, and there are pavement signs that tell you, they have QR codes, and you sign up,
Mhm.
you go to the website, and it tells you information about that mural, and then there's interactive components to it. I do know that's mostly downtown.
Yeah, I was thinking more, I ride the trail fairly frequently.
Yeah, there's
And as I
only
come
one on
through
the trail.
Clearwater,
Yeah.
I don't see very much signage for anything. It's just
Yeah.
kind of, you keep rolling. And as you get up into
Yeah.
Palm Harbor and
Yeah,
Arizona
sure.
and Tarpon and stuff, you see more signage pointing to things.
Yeah.
Even if it said a block, you know, with the proverbial finger, a block down this way, there's more blah, 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 you
Mhm.
know?
Coffee.
And I think.
Because they're not right all on the trail, obviously.
Exactly. And I think we're kind of missing an opportunity there to pull people, because there are a lot of people now who rent the electric bikes. I've got my own opinions about that,
Mhm.
Could there-
but
yeah.
there's a lot of people, they will come down and they will have like a whole family, and they will rent bicycles, electric or otherwise, and they'll be just kind of exploring, and if they don't see there's something down here.
Maybe there's an opportunity for some artsy type of signage that would conjure up the feelings of the murals perhaps, or the experience that they could have. Maybe that would be attention grabbing. Versus, I mean, there could be something printed in a more standard way, but maybe there's an artsy way to frame that.
And the signage, it wouldn't have to be large, because we're not talking about traffic, something you're, doing 45 miles an hour past, but, something on I'm no expert on this, but probably something, on a smaller scale, as you're walking past or riding past, it's something you could actually pull over and look at, QR code added to it, or something like that as well.
I'm just thinking, listening, and I was wondering what your thoughts are if you're a utilizer of the trail. I mean, because as you pointed out, people will be moving down there relatively rapidly, potentially on a bicycle or something. But if you had a smaller sign that said murals within a mile, and you put the QR code, it just immediately showed you map how close they were and some information about that mural, would that be something you're talking about, or are you talking about something more robust?
I think that would be, that would be a good idea as well. But I think probably just something, I imagine it's a really careful balance between having a whole bunch of signs all over the trail.
Kind of why I was trying to find a way to consolidate it, and the trail's controlled mostly by the county for us, at least in our jurisdiction. I don't know the way it is in Palmer, but for us, it's completely controlled by the county, so our ability to influence and have creative license would be a little limited.
Maybe a balance between that. If we have a few major, like the one on the school, the mural on the school down,
Yeah.
Down a little bit further, you know, a sign for that, and then also.
Yeah, because you're probably 2 blocks off the trail, maybe further east, something like that.
Right.
Not real far.
So somebody might go for that, but
Make
then
a
also
detour.
have a
I was
QR
trying to
code or
think of
something
something,
for others.
simplicity, that if I had, if I had one sign that I could make 10 times and put in 10 different locations that says here's the murals within a mile, and you can get kind of a list of where they are, where they're located, hit the mapping utility that will normally pop up, show you the walking distance or whatever.
They aren't all
It would be
just
easier for
murals.
us to execute
Yes.
from that standpoint.
Because CRA does that, they kind of put a giant QR code on our sidewalks. Has anybody seen that for their art tours?
Yeah,
You
that's
can
what I
scan.
was talking about.
That's kind of the first thing that came to mind also.
So I don't
because
think the
it's-
sidewalk ones.
That would be the only, well, yeah, we'd have to kind of have something where we can control it, because FDOT and Pinellas County and all these rules
I just think
makes
the
it harder.
sidewalk is dirty and stuff to look at. Sign while you're walking, just stand in the light.
Yeah.
The city of Dunedin did a map for a lot of their public art. So they have pinged a lot of their public art, and they have location and small descriptions of what the art is and where to actually find them. So an online version, and I still even think a print version, just having a physical map or posting it where they do get e-bikes or where you rent certain things at, having a flyer or a poster where they can rent the bike and get the map all at the same time might be an option as well.
Yeah, even sort of a mounted neighborhood map or something that has, and then also that.
You gotta find those spots where the trail goes through something that's owned by the city, and you put it right on the city side.
I'll find a way. That was pretty
That's why
crafty.
we're so happy he's the head of our department now.
Thank
I'll
you for
also
that. Thank
lean
you.
in, because as Creative Pinellas, we do murals with the county, and some of them were on the trail, but on the other side, like north. So I can ask questions, since we sit at the table there, to be able to see what the plan is for the Clearwater corridor.
Thank you.
The system that St. Pete uses for the Shine Festival is called Pixel Sticks, and it automatically links to a map of all of the murals that are registered, and they have like a plexiglass or Lexan little plaque on each mural with a QR code that links to the artist's info. So rather than at my employer, we like to reinvent the wheel on the most simple things, and it's incredibly frustrating because we don't do a good job at it.
Didn't we use Pixel Sticks before?
I don't
In the
know.
beginning?
I think we talked about it. I don't know if it ever actually got done, but this is a system that's already there, and it's not terribly expensive to buy into. And they print the plaques, they're UV stable and all that kind of stuff. So that might make life
Yeah.
easier.
I've heard of them, so thank you for that.
Well, ours was super rudimentary, but when we started the walk, we self-published our own little map. And we had one symbol that was sculptural installations, one symbol that was murals, another symbol that was art-wrapped signal boxes. It was like, one's a triangle, one's a box, one's a circle, whatever. And obviously things have been added, but I mean, it was very rudimentary, and we were self-publishing that. Because it was like, well, if you want to take more time, or if you can't do the walk today, take this, and at your own leisure, in the immediate downtown area, here's 20 things you can take in, or whatever. I mean, that was just a start, so.
Thank you. Anybody else?
I have one thing it's off this topic. It'll be short. I'm curious about something. So along Highway 19, heading northbound, a skyway was put up with a beautiful giant logo of Clearwater. And at first I didn't understand what was happening, and then I see this big beautiful logo, and I thought, this is great, I just love seeing this. And then a giant sign has appeared over half of the logo now it's a highway sign. I can't remember exactly what it says. And you know, my head tilts to the side, and I just wonder, why does it look like that? Why did that sign go up? Does anybody have any explanation as to why the highway sign appeared in the middle of what must have been a very expensive project?
Dan question, yeah. This is not my department.
Unfortunately, yes, I did. And of course, the Clearwater sign was well over $1 million.
Yes.
What we put on the pedestrian bridge, so near harm is what
Yeah.
we're talking about. I think we're going to make it better, but we're not going to get to where I want to be. I actually was just speaking with the manager and some staff yesterday about this particular topic, and we are going to be able to likely move the sign over to the right by 9 feet. But there will be still the metal trusses that will stick out the end. They will not allow us to
Oh my
move
gosh.
trusses.
So this
It's
is
millions of dollars to relocate the whole pedestal. I did check on that. And I was trying to re-engineer the truss, which also became a problem. FDOT is pretty rigid about leaving the truss up, but moving the sign for us. I should say moving the sign for us. The cost to move the sign 9 feet, this is where I love government, this is where you laugh, right? It's $16,736. And I'm kind of like, move the sign 9
Yeah.
feet.
So this is the state of Florida.
So it's the pedestrian bridge was something that the city advocated.
Okay.
FDOT, of course, has their, and traffic regulations dictate where they put signs, how they put them, and all that kind
Right.
of stuff. So that particular sign's at a particular area because it's at a particular distance from an exit or whatever. So we can't move it, we can slide it over, but
Right.
the trusses are gonna stay.
This particular sign by the FDOT, was that something that existed there the whole
No.
time? Okay.
So, of course, we have engineers that designed one project, which was the pedestrian bridge, and essentially also designed our beautiful logo sign that you're referring to. There's another group of engineers working at FDOT that engineered the other sign. There's a lot of pointing fingers because those plans, they come through for review, and people look at the plans, but those plans don't actually show you how this impacts in the environment.
Yeah.
So nobody looked at the plan and said, yes, it looks like it's within regulations, within requirements, but nobody recognized until it was through. FDOT says we should have figured that out because it was our sign. I have one engineer that looks at these particular drawings for the purpose of making sure that there's no safety issues. His job is not to evaluate aesthetics.
Right.
And so it really wasn't his fault. FDOT has more than 20 that look at these same things and very easily could have just as easily figured it out. The proposal that the manager and I discussed yesterday is that we're trying to get FDOT and the city to split the cost 50-50 to move it over, which would be not that significant amount of money from a government standpoint, but still about
Right.
$8,000 for us, $8,000 for FDOT.
Yeah, okay, well,
So we
thanks
will be
for that
moving it,
explanation.
And then we'll look at the way it looks afterwards, and maybe me and my nephew could blow a fortune together.
Yeah, okay.
That's not on the recording.
I'm pretty
Silent.
I have another FDOT question. The lighting on the bridge at Gulf de Bay and 19. We haven't talked about that in quite some time.
I heard it, I thought the last time we spoke about it, we were told it was dead.
Okay.
But maybe
I
I'm
mean,
wrong.
I know there was a
I'm
meeting
willing
at
to be
this,
wrong.
so maybe that's when the nail was put in the coffin. But
Yeah.
I guess, is it dead?
That problem.
It's so the bridge, they had that beautiful kind of blue light, and a couple of them went out, and then they just took the whole thing out. And so we had talked about whose is
Yeah,
it,
who-
and I think
yeah,
it's
yeah.
I think it's FDOT. I don't think it's ours. And so that would be their decision. But we all agreed it's very nice.
So the
we
blue-
like it.
Blue streetlights were put up on purpose?
It was under the bridge, so
Oh,
kind of
under the
illuminated
bridge. Oh, illuminating. Okay,
Yeah.
Yeah, the
illuminating
only one
lights.
that's colored underneath, if you didn't notice, that was a huge big deal to go through. And
Not
also
that one, but just like
The overpass at 19 and
Yes.
Gulf to Bay.
Interesting.
It was a-
Not the blue streetlights, that's
That was a
national
mistake.
manufacturing
Yeah.
defect on LED bulbs.
Yes.
Yeah, those lights, those type of lights are kind of interesting, and I'm new to this role actually. But there are some that we're responsible, some that DOT's responsible. There's really this kind of conglomerate mix of soup on who takes care of these things. I know for us, we maintain the ones on the St. Key Bridge, which I found ironic because I really had no capacity to do that. So our building and maintenance department are responsible for lights on a bridge, in which case they have to hire a very special piece of equipment. It's very expensive to change a light bulb. And so people get mad at me when I have 3 light bulbs out because I wait till I got like 6 or 12, just doesn't make sense. But I'll make a couple inquiries because I'm curious to hear what it was, what the resolution was.
Thank you.
I'm sure somebody made a value type judgment based on finances.
There is one, I think it's like McMullen Booth when you're coming off of 60. So that was the really pretty one. You're kind of coming into Clearwater. And then
So
there's
maybe
another
we're
one.
cutting the trust and put some Amazon LED lights off of the, and just run the strips.
I'll hold the road, you can hang it behind blue gun.
We talked about that a couple different times, actually, and it is very expensive because you have to actually shut the road down to get to the lights, and it's a big deal, so.
Good job for Spider-Man.
And one more comment, if I can.
Yes, please.
You mentioned about the, maybe in Clearwater Arts Alliance, Beth take care of maybe doing some of the sculptures. I know there's some exchanges that we have where we share some art between different cities and different organizations around the country, potentially. Or is there a potential to share
Sculptures?
anything art related? Because I'm actually currently working in Houston at the Houston airport, and I'm actually working with the art curator there. It's not really my day job, but he mentioned multiple times he's got a bunch of art that he has tucked away. I was going to say, hey, maybe you could.
3-dimensional or 3-dimensional?
3-dimensional and 2-dimensional, both. That he can't put up because he has not enough spaces for it. And my project, we are making some space, but not enough. So my question is, could we
Send me
take
the
something?
info.
Well, and I can set up a meeting between him if we need to,
Yeah,
because
if
it
we get-
potentially could be something that can be displayed. It's going to come from Texas,
Yeah.
but kind of like an exchange.
I'm not sure about intra-city. I know that there are artists that rent sculptures and
Sure.
that they go all over the place.
Right.
We've done that in the past. That's usually what we do with the 360. But it's an
And that's
interesting
kinda like-
idea if they just have it and they're willing to lend it to us.
That was kind of
To
my thought. If we got
display,
places,
then
if we got
we're
places to
about
put
that.
them, that would be the other question. And I could actually, because I wanted to think about that, because he mentioned it in a couple of meetings that I was in with them. So, hey, let me just ask the question. And maybe it is worthwhile. It belongs to Houston Airport Systems, but it could loan it.
Could loan it
I'll
or could
email
rent
it.
it at a real, very super reasonable price.
There you go.
Right?
Well, I'll negotiate it. No dollar price, just move it.
The moving and install will be enough.
That's enough, exactly. I'll bring it in. Let's see, we'll take the torch, bring the truck, bring those in, and I'll take care of it.
We'll get that one from Mingo.
No,
We don't know. Are there any more board members to be heard at this time? Then I would like someone to make a motion to adjourn.
Let's adjourn this thing. It's a good meeting.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second.
Motion adjourned at 3:03.